Good morning. It's 10 o'clock and it's time for us to start our candidate forum. I would like to remind everybody that today is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And let's be sure to share the love this morning, okay? Share the love, all right? Somebody all in? Yeah, absolutely. So here are the rules for the forum. Opening remarks by each candidate will be limited to 2 minutes. Opening statements will begin with the first person on the ballot. Closing remarks by each candidate will be limited to 2 minutes. Closing remarks will begin with the last person on the ballot. Candidates' responses to the audience questions will be limited to 2 minutes. When multiple candidates are asked to respond, a different candidate will be the first to respond each time, and I will manage that. If the questioner has a follow-up question, the candidate will have 1 minute to respond. Now, for you all in the audience, when you want to ask a question, you'll be required to follow these guidelines. Questioners will line up at the microphone, and their initial question is limited to 1 minute. You're asking a question, not editorialized. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Editorializing, yes.
Politicized.
Questioners may direct their question to any number of candidates or to a specific candidate. The questioner will remain at the microphone until the question has been answered by the candidate. And then that gives you the opportunity to ask a follow-up question if you desire to do so. If you ask a follow-up question, you have 30 seconds for your follow-up question, and the candidate has 1 minute to respond. All audience members will be given the opportunity to ask a question prior to 11:15 before a questioner may return to the line to ask another question. Okay? Are there any questions? Any questions on what I've said? Sorry. In all circumstances, when the timer goes off, the speaker will become silent. I am not the timekeeper this year.
And we have a fancy dancy timer, so.
The last time I was here, somebody got very irritated at me with that time, you know? So at 11:15, candidates will give their closing statements. At 11:30, the forum will end and everyone will adjourn to meet and greet. There is a really important thing because I'm all about love today. The moderator may choose to end the forum at any time prior to 11:30 due to rude, disrespectful, or offensive behavior by anyone. I just want to say to our 3 candidates, you are applying for a thankless job. You know that. No matter what you do, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. I appreciate all 3 of you being here today to respond to questions that are being asked by folks. So thank you very much in advance, just in case I forget at the end. At the end, Sharon's going to come up and talk to you about the ballot and what you need to do with that ballot to make sure that your vote is counted. Okay, so at the very end, after they do their statements, Sharon, come on up and talk with everybody, okay? All right, thank you. All right, the floor is now open for the first question.
We got to do opening statement.
Oh, you are so right.
That was a test for you. Yes, good job.
I am telling you.
Been working on
paying
this.
attention.
2 years away from the job or whatever it is. Yes, thank you so much. We are now ready for opening statements. The candidates are sitting up here in the order that they are on the ballot. Okay, thank you, sir. You will begin.
Okay, most of y'all know me from the meetings and stuff, but this is not my regular attire. So I was born in New Mexico, but I got to Texas just as fast as I could. Spent most of my life in Houston. In January of 2025, my wife and I decided we were going to retire and downsize and leave Houston. And I noticed the Fort Parks Springs billboard as I visited my brother's ranch north of town here. And on our very first visit here, we fell in love with this place, and because of the history and the activity. We found a place and immediately became involved in the community, attending board of director meetings, volunteering, and attending all activities we could. And we especially liked Fort Clark Springs days and brought some of our family down here to visit that. When landscaping fell behind, we took over the dog park and the solitary confinement grounds to keep those up. I decided that I could help the community most by being on the board of directors.
One
My
minute.
last 50 years of employment was in operation and maintenance management for commercial real estate, education, K through 12, university, luxury townhomes, and manufacturing. Managed properties from 400,000 to 8.5 million square feet. Managed budgets and capital improvements in excess of $1 million. Managed staffs from 5 to 185 employees. Construction management included requests for proposal, bid analysis, and construction processes. I have strong analytical and problem-solving skills. Priorities for me would be road repair, maintenance, historical buildings, maintenance, restoration and preservation, and fiscal responsibility for all departments.
You still have 16 seconds.
I'm just-
Okay. Can you guys all see this little timer here?
I can't see it that far away.
I'll make sure you can when it's time.
I just yelled.
Anytime
It
you're
won't
ready.
take you 2 minutes, but
Okay,
I'm waiting.
you ready?
Good morning, everybody. My name's Sean Wiley. I know most of you probably know me. I've been on the board for 3 years. Had the pleasure of serving everybody here. When I ran the first time, there was only one candidate running, and I felt like that was unacceptable for a community with this many people. And I think I want to point out today that there are 3 people sitting up here today that tirelessly volunteered for this community. And I think it's amazing. You have 3 great choices this year, and I really appreciate y'all's involvement in everybody meeting.
Ready?
Ready? Fort Clark Springs is headed for a financial reckoning that will be announced by short-term loans becoming long-term liabilities. The budget the board approved for the present year has no reality to the projected spending, as it does not include additions of executive secretary for the general manager, an assistant director for maintenance, subcontractors working at the theater, the NCO club, or doing minor repairs at the RV park. The golf course has for years been allowed to spend 100% of the revenue it generates plus $180,000 in budgeted deficit spending, plus many one-time special project assignments, like $60,000 for new golf carts, $16,000 for a questionable pump replacement, and $6,000 in repairs to a mower not owned by the port. The membership of our association has still not been told who now possesses the 12 old golf carts that were disposed of, who took the 72 batteries and the 12 chargers that went with them, and why the irrigation pump that our golf course manager declared was struck by lightning was not covered by our insurance. Maintenance, or the lack of thereof, is often the #1 topic of groups I am involved with. The interactions between some of the staff and our membership concerning trash removal or tree disposal is unacceptable and should have been addressed years ago. The unwillingness of our staff to assist and coordinate most volunteer activities is apparent. I doubt this board or many of the boards before it have ever met regularly, face to face, with the heads of our departments to review what they are telling committee heads or volunteer groups. Volunteerism is not appreciated at Fort Clark. It is not routinely coordinated with the maintenance personnel, and often volunteers are told they cannot do something because of liability issues, because of improper paperwork submission.
Time.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're ready for questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you would like to ask a question, please step up to the mic. And if we have no questions from the floor, do we have any email questions?
So, yeah, I did not get any of the
Say we're going
emails.
home.
Okay. Did not get any email. Okay, all right. So you sitting here in this room, the weight is on you.
So 1 minute to ask a question.
Yes.
I
Again,
promise not to hiss and boo anybody, but I would like to hear the sitting board member's response to Warren's statement.
Which one? Which statement?
All of them.
He only has 2 minutes to answer that.
I don't fault Mr. Warren for his concerns, and I actually encourage people to have concerns. I think that's it's great to have more involvement. We had a town hall where a lot of those concerns were answered, and they were answered factually, and yet about 3/4 of that is still there, even though it was answered in the town hall. I don't understand that. However, I don't expect this place to be perfect. I'd love for it to be. It's not ever going to be. And there are a lot of people that work their butts off to keep it going the direction it is going. But one thing that I think I'll really push back against is that all the board members at times we may hate each other's guts. If there were guns in the room, it may not end well. But one thing that they will not do is ever disparage volunteer. No board member has ever done that. And I don't know of any of them post, present, and I hope none in the future do, because we 100% appreciate volunteerism, and ultimately everybody sitting up here has volunteered their fair share as well too. So,
Okay, thank you.
Oh, for Warren. Hi, Warren. Okay, we all know that you're very concerned and opinionated about the golf course. But that being said, can you mention a couple of positive things about the fort that you think are doing okay? I know.
Gee, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Let me skip on. All right, let me just say that I think the golf course has been cleaned up in the last couple of years. From my understanding, there's 5 volunteers at the golf course. The golf course that I was associated with back in Iowa had 1 paid employee in the pro shop and 1 paid employee in maintenance, and everybody else was volunteers. We have 4. Let's see, what do we have? 4. We have 4 full-time employees and 3 part-time employees at the golf course and 5 volunteers, from what I understand, and all of those 5 volunteers have lawn work. Now, why does that golf course still cost us $180,000? That $180,000 represents the bulldozer we don't have for trash. It involves the money we don't have for Dickman Hall. It involves the $1,500 that we didn't spend to do the NCO club kitchen floor the way it was originally intended to do. And we don't have $1,500 to help the volunteers at the stable to finish their project. That $180,000, if you go back the last 4 years, represents $1 million that was squandered at the golf course. And the next 5 years is going to be the next $1 million. And John Wiley has already told us we need between $2 and $5 million to fix this place up. If you want to find the money, then you need to put that golf course under a board that has volunteers and runs on a budget, and not just comes in here and buys 12 new golf carts and then the other 12 disappear. They fix a pump is Max the man at the golf course, or Matt? Okay, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the golf course manager claimed that pump was totally destroyed, including lightning strike on the motor. If that was struck by lightning on the motor, it should have been turned into insurance. So I think the golf course is the most mismanaged place on the fort. I joined the golf course in November of 2024, and I asked, I want to know when the committees meet. I want to know when the tournaments are. I want to get involved with other parts of the golf course. All right. Thank you.
Can I get a short follow-up
You
question?
do. 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I guess I misquoted my question. Could you mention anything positive about the fort?
Okay, we took the dump truck over to the fire station. We spent almost $1,000 fixing it up. And now the fort has taken it back. What are they going to do with it? It's setting down at recycling. So what are we doing positive? We're fixing things. We have a tractor that we fixed. We spent over $1,000 on it, and we spent $4,000 on the roof of the fire station. So what are we doing positive in the community? My group, we're doing a lot of things positive. So that's why they took the fire station away, right? Because they believe volunteerism is a big deal here. Now, what's the fire station got to do with volunteerism?
Okay. No.
We don't care about volunteerism. They gave us the bottom of Seminole Hall. That's not acceptable for the type of work that we do, and it doesn't have the visibility. if Memo and his group of little Covey volunteers want to go down and set up in the basement of Seminole Hall, that's great. But we don't, we're going to move over to the Hope Center, and we're going to use our talents to help the Hope Center, not only in Bracketville, but the people here on the floor.
Thank you. I'm gonna get a dictionary. I need to find out, I really need to look for the definition of positive.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay, good.
John, my question is for you. You've been on the board for 3 years. I'd like to know what you found your greatest challenge to be in that 3 years. And also what you're thinking your greatest challenge would be in this, if you win and go back on the board again.
That's a great question. I would say the greatest challenge is trying to work together towards a common goal. And you would think that would be pretty easy, but in reality, it's not. And I imagine every 5-panel board is the same way. I mean, it's hard to work together. That being said, the board has gotten a lot better at working together, and everybody, it takes time to see eye to eye, which is, I think, a really strong case for having consistent board members and a consistent general manager, because that whole team needs to get to the point where they can work together.
Did you have a follow-up question?
No.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. That's the second time up. We need to make sure that nobody else in the room wants to come up. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Really? I do appreciate you. I appreciate all of you.
Yeah, my question is, Fort Clark is a beautiful place and it sells itself. And so, Mr. Overts has already testified. He came here one time and he fell in love with the place. Same here. Bought last May and I'm loving every minute. So this is a question for all board members, or all candidates. I mean, how do we get more people? How do we let the secret out? It's a big secret all over Texas, and really all of the state of Texas deserves to know about this place. So how would each of you propose to get the word out? We have a revenue problem here, right? And mailbox money is not curing the problem. We need more people. We need profit centers, need to develop these buildings, to make them each provide revenue if possible. So how would each of you approach that to get more people in to sell this pearl to other people who have, are like-minded and would love the place as much as we do? Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to be the first one to answer. Okay, and then John, and then Warren. Okay,
Okay, so is that a 1 minute?
that's one. That is a 2-minute response from each one of
Okay.
the candidates.
All right, you got 2 minutes.
Okay, I don't need 2 minutes. I would hire a professional advertising agency, look into what it would cost to hire a professional advertising agency and see what their projected returns would be.
Okay.
I agree with most of that. When I got on the board, the budget was $2,000 for advertising. We had nobody to do advertising. We changed that to, I can't remember the exact number, but I believe 20 grand for advertising. And then Charlene hired a marketing, analyst. So we've taken some steps to do that. However, they've been somewhat successful, but we need to continue that. We need to keep going down that rabbit hole. 100% agree. You and I were recently speaking, and the two things that people always say when they come in here is, we didn't know this was here, and this is unbelievably beautiful. So it's not the sale will take care of itself, but we got to get people in the gate. And however we need to do that, but we do need to invest, and maybe that comes out of money that we're reclaiming from lost dues. We do need to invest in getting more people here so we can get the engine started.
Okay, my wife and I stopped here the first time because she saw camping on one of the billboards, I think the one coming in from the east. We stayed one night the first time we were here, and then after that, we came back every year. But I went out to the front gate. There are 3 billboards in each direction from the front gate. I wrote down the distance they were, whether they were 4.2 miles, 0.7 miles, whatever. So there's 6 unused billboards right now outside the front gate of Fort Clark that have no advertising. They're all different sizes. You can go check them out yourself. And, I just think that it's not going to be that much money to catch these people coming down the road. And I don't think we need a lot of information. We need motel 0.7 miles ahead, turn right toward Clark, or motel or camping. The other thing is, we haven't done a very good job of public relations at the RV park. That's, I think, one of the main revenues or the main avenues by which people come here. They love the place, they stay, they buy, and we've done a lousy job of running the RV park. I ran an RV park in Charlottesville, Virginia. This is not how you run an RV park. An RV park has to be run by 14-hour days, not 8-hour days or 7-hour days or even 6-hour days. They need to have a program for recreation. They need to have equipment for children. They need to have amenities, which we have, and we have very unique amenities. But nobody, every Friday night, we used to have a hayride. We take all the people in the RV park, or the children at least, through the campground. We need to do that through the fort. Let them know what's here. Some people come and stay just 1 or 2 nights. They don't even know there's any trails here. The other thing is we need to open up one of these trails for horses. And none of these trails up on the north side of Scales are accessible for somebody riding on a horse. So we have a horse stable, we advertise a horse stable, but we don't have any trails for horse riding. So if we want to expand the stable part, we need to address that issue.
Oh, I gotta do the horn.
Can I have a follow-up?
Yes, you have 30
30
seconds.
seconds.
Okay. So in conjunction with that, we get people into the gate. How do we work it so that, one, it's still a secure facility? I mean, I bought it into a gated community because I want security. I don't want unknown persons at random intervals wandering through Fort Clark. And so how do we marry that with better security, but also make these people that happen to find the place, maybe they want to stay in the motel, but they feel hosted. When they get here, they feel hosted. Like, thank you.
Thank you for your follow-up. John, you'll be the first to answer the follow-up, please.
1 minute.
1 minute.
I think that it's a double-sided, sword to a certain extent, because if you get people in here, I mean, we can't run a background check before they come in the gate. So there's going to be some trade-off with security as opposed to getting people in the gate. What we do know is that what we have going on right now isn't necessarily going to work. And we have to try something new. We have to continue to try something new. And the trade-off for that is how do you get dollars to come through the gate? And maybe we got to stop looking at people as dangerous or not dangerous and look at it like money. I don't really know the answer to that definitively. But if we don't get people in the gate, we're not going to generate enough money to solve all the problems that we currently have.
Lauren, you're next.
Okay, I really think that advertising is the way to go. We've had market managers that have, I think, done nothing. And we still haven't got billboards up. I went to Rio Grande Electric about 3 years ago. I had it all written out, a proposal to ask Rio Grande Electric to donate the telephone poles, and we would construct, the volunteers that I worked with would construct the billboards on both ends about at least 2 miles out of town. Someone from the board of directors here went to Rio Grande Electric and told them that I was not authorized through the RV Park Committee to contact them concerning, just a proposal. We had a proposal. We just wanted to know what it was going to cost. And they scuttlebutted it, and Rio Grande Electric would not talk to me after that. So we need the cooperation that John's talking about, but we also need a board that works with volunteers. In other words, the board doesn't direct, the board assists the volunteers to do what they want to do. And we haven't had that in the past.
Jim?
I would suggest through the advertising agency that we would develop some kind of guided tours for those that wanted to see the historical and the functionality and the community. And I think that would be the best way to handle the security part of it.
I'm Leslie Jones. I would like to have you quit using the word security. There is no security at this time. I personally do not like that. When you call, I consider security, they stop me, and the base is a good thing. Example, I've had to show cards and stuff. I don't expect that, but the security is not here. We don't have security mats stuck in the office. I don't know what he's doing nowadays. but it irritates me that you even use the word security. I wish it would be banned from all vehicles.
Leslie, did you have a question?
I just make a statement.
Okay, thank you.
So sick of that security business.
I really love the question that you asked earlier about can you say what positive things would you say about Fort Clark Springs? So I just wanted to step up and extend that question to Joe and Joan to answer as well. Thank you.
Okay, so, and that was to everybody, right? Was that to, I'm sorry, was that question to everybody? Oh,
Mr. Warren was asked that specifically last time, so I was just extending the question to be asked to the other two candidates for reply. Thank you.
all right, thank you. Okay, Joe and John, you each had the opportunity to answer first. So we'll come back to you, Joe, to answer first.
2 minutes, right?
2 minutes, yes.
I think the active community involvement and the opportunities to go to events and to help socialize through things like Fort Clark Springs days is what really is important.
John?
I think some of the positive things that have happened since getting on the board. One, I see a lot of really good volunteering today. We have an aging class of people, and we need to get younger people in here to help. And I see some of that happening, and I'm very appreciative of that. Also, we have most of our finances in order. We are engaged in a lawsuit trying to get our taxes reduced than it should be. We have maintenance getting on the right track and getting things cleaned up in a better manner than they have. We've tried multiple things to engage outside contractors to do things that never been done in the past, like, cut trees and grass and do all sorts of other stuff. We have a really good general manager that cares and is honest about this place, and is very accessible to you, the membership. There are a ton of positive things going on right now, and there's a lot more to come. And I'm very happy in the direction we're headed.
And Warren, you don't have the opportunity to answer the question because it wasn't directed to you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you for understanding. Okay, all right. Any more questions from the audience? Okay, thank you. Come on up. Yes. Dennis,
Morning.
good morning.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I seem to know most of the people here. I'm a homeowner here. I've owned a house for 5 years. And I wanted to say something positive and ask a question. I have to agree with Warren. I found this place camping. So I think those signs are important. Without the sign, I'd have just went right on by up to Del Rio to the lake and never would have found the place. And I'm glad I did. I'd like to say a couple of positive things. The people that come and pick up my trash have done an outstanding job from the beginning. I had a couple of small problems. I discussed it with them. It was all taken care of. The cans, they're careful with my can. They pick up the stuff. I think they're doing a great job. Now, we lost something when we lost the firehouse, and it wasn't just Warren. It was also a social area. There was always 2 or 3 of us not getting anything done while Warren was working. And we would use that as a social area because it's easy, you can pull off. But I want to thank you for your time. I just got buzzed, right?
You did get back.
Did you have a question?
Did you?
I do have a quick question.
Okay, give them a 30-second follow-up on that, since you do have.
You got 30 seconds.
You have 30 seconds to ask your question. If you don't get your question out,
I'll be quick.
nobody can respond.
Roads. Quick positive thing. I paid extra to get the hotel worked on. They were working on it this morning. So done deal on that. And I agree, it needs to look good when you come through the door. But several years ago, they come up and they fixed a water leak, which was no problem. Then they threw gravel in the hole. So our road, which is Mesquite's starting to get bad. But if you go in unit, what is it, 14 or something, those roads are terrible. And any of y'all got any plans? Because I keep hearing different ways that the roads are going to be fixed.
Okay. I did hear a question in there at the end.
The roads.
Okay, so
Okay.
Warren, you have not had the opportunity to be the first to answer a question, so it is your
2
turn.
minutes.
2 minutes.
I'd like to go back to the positive part. You know, the one thing that I noticed was I know John and his crew, or at least his equipment, went down and opened up a lot of the hunting area trails, which I thought was very positive. The other thing that I'd like to see happen is something to be done with the red pond, the pond at the Red Bridge. Because I think when the spring goes dry, we ought to be dragging the silt out of that pond and even selling it or giving it to people here on the fort. That is not a recreational facility, but it could be if all that silt was taken out of there. We could make money and we could have it back. The other thing is the swimming pool. I've always been a big supporter of the swimming pool. I think that Russell Knoll and his group have taken a great job, taken a lot of time. I wish that Marilyn McNernan would be back here to open the theater up for us again. I enjoyed the productions that she did. But we need to think about what if the gun club and the pickleball people and the Fort Clark days all came here with the same requests for money that we get from the golf course. We wouldn't be able to withstand that type of financial stress. So we're spending all of our recreational money on one event, one amenity. And when you talk about not closing amenities, which the board says they don't want to do, they are closing all the other amenities. The baseball diamonds are wrecked, the basketball court needs to be resurfaced, the tennis courts. What if all those other things that had to generate their own money came here asking for money the way the golf course does? We wouldn't have $1 to even get started. So the thing about the fire station that bothers me most is the free table. The free table wasn't just a free table. I would take things off of the free table and take them over to the adult center for those people who were doing crafts over there. We would take things off the free table to sell in February at our auction to make money for Fort Clark days. So the fire station didn't just function as a volunteer center. There were many others.
I know I'm sneaking in.
No. Sorry. See, the time limit is there so that we don't editorialize.
Right.
Sorry. Okay. Joe, you've not had the opportunity to be the second to answer a question.
2 minutes, right?
Yes.
2 minutes.
The question was really about roads. The answer to that, I believe, is to work with MUD, who owns the roads. But I am not clear and would like to find out who is responsible for the maintenance. It does drive me crazy that they can come and make a repair and not have to put that pavement back. And that is separate from maintaining the roads. But I believe they should be responsible for putting the pavement back that they took out when they make a repair.
Okay, yeah, the question was about roads like in Unit 14 and is there a plan? And full disclosure, no, there's not a plan. And there's so many whack-a-moles at the moment. And I think, it's probably always been like this. So it's not just the problem of the city board right now. But no, there is no plan. And no, I'm not gonna say that's acceptable. However, there's a lot of things that do have to get taken care of outside of roads. The road maintenance is essentially, yes, MUD owns the roads. We are responsible for maintaining. The contract's not very long as far as reading it. And we could get that for you. I believe it does say if they cut a hole in the road that they do have to repair it back to its original condition or something to that effect. So those seem like, I'm not sure we are discuss what's being discussed as far as where, but I believe that does have to be repaired. There does need to be a plan. This is one of the most common requests that we get is for the roads to be taken care of. However, it's also one of the most expensive. And when we only have $100,000-ish of expendable income after all of our hard costs, outside of cutting off employees, it's really hard to diminish our costs, our hard costs. We can't just say, well, we'd like to pay $100,000 less in taxes or $100,000 less in insurance or $100,000 less in whatever thing that we want to say. We have hard costs. And then outside of that, there's very little a board has in discretionary spending. So if we want the roads to be repaired and they want a plan to be established to do that, we really need more revenue. And that's where we have to start. We have to make more money to then be able to apply to the roads. But we don't currently have money in our budget to be able to apply to the roads. There's just not the expendable income accessible to us.
Next person from the audience, come on up. Nope. We still have people who haven't.
Really excited to hear y'all talking about plans for marketing and advertising and roads and maintenance and how all that's going to come together. Currently, the association receives a tax break by what you all just mentioned, the roads sitting on the balance sheet of MUD. That's approximately $75,000. How, I mean, you're saying that there's not money in the budget, but when those roads were transferred to MUD, there's a $75,000 tax savings. We're in a tax savings situation where we're looking at putting our property taxes in a different realm based on the lawsuit that's out there. If those savings were incurred, or with the $75,000 of savings that you already have, what should we be doing with those?
Is this for all three?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Okay, 1. All right, John, I'm gonna let you go first this time, please.
2 minutes.
That's a great question, Travis. What I would say is that the tax rate, I believe we're entering the 16th this year or something like that, 15th year of this tax break of $75,000. So to put that on any recent board I don't think works, because we can't just cut $75,000 out of whatever this perceived tax break is for mud taking over the roads, and then all of a sudden to go, well, we have to use this money for something else. Maybe that should have been done 15 years ago. I don't know. Maybe it was tried. Maybe they tried to do it 15 years ago and ran out of money. I don't know the answer to that. What I can answer is that yes, we pay right now. We pay 127 to 140,000 ish dollars in taxes right now, and I believe that we should be paying about 30,000 total. I really believe that. I've read the law over and over and over. There's 4 lawyers that have agreed to that. If most of you can take the time to read it, I think we'd all agree. We fall under these provisions that meet the requirements of this law. If we could get that money reduced, get our taxes reduced, and we have an additional $100,000 to spend every year, 100%. A lot of that needs to go into a yearly budget of the roads, which is why I took on this endeavor, and also why I think it's so important. We need that money back in our budget to have more expendable income where we can apply it towards things that require a plan.
Okay, Warren, second.
I've always complained about the roads. I don't see why the people in 3 and 14 and 15 have to put up with their roads when a lot of the roads other places on the fort are well maintained. That's just unconscionable to me. That's the way that we treat those people. They're paying the same fees as the people down in the Oaks or wherever else. The other thing that I'd like to talk about insurance is I brought up the possibility that the insurance at the fort be looked at liability only. And I don't know if that's what's going on now, or we're doing liability plus property. Because when the damage was done in 2017 to not only the roof of the fire station, but other buildings, the fire station was never repaired. And when I asked where that money went, it was thrown into the general fund and used for other things here. It was not used to fix the roof on the fire station. So that's why the roof on the fire station still leaks after the $4,000 that my friends and I spent to try and fix it. So I think the other thing we're doing is we're spending way too much money on lawyers. For those of you who've read this pamphlet, read down. I'm not even going to read this whole thing. Do any and everything necessary, suitable, and proper for the accomplishment of any of all purposes. All this says is we're going to do whatever we want to do. That's what the board is saying. And they got a lawyer to put this in a pamphlet and waste time. When I asked that we put one more sheet of paper in the ballot envelope and ask questions of the membership, how they want to spend their money, ask them where they would like to donate some money to help things here on the fort. And we didn't even have room in the envelope for one more sheet of paper with a questionnaire, asking the membership what they want and what they're willing to support monetarily.
Joe?
I agree with most of what John said, but what we need to look out for is if we're on budget, and hopefully we'll find that at the board of directors meeting, that we'll have a little bit of a surplus at the end of the year. And I would propose that we earmark that for road repair.
Anybody else from the audience?
other than Mr. Fields? I give Mr. Fields a chance. If somebody else, you'll be after Mr. Fields, okay? Because
Could I-
he's been
could I-
chomping at the bit.
Could I follow up a little bit on the roads? The one thing that
I'm
I
gonna,
think
I'm gonna
Max
say
was,
no, Warren, Warren.
beg pardon?
I'm gonna say no to that.
Okay,
Unless you're willing to let the other candidates also respond.
oh,
after you.
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
all right, I'll allow that.
I just want to address one thing about roads. When Max was here from the golf course talking about, things that they had done at the golf course, he stood at this microphone and said this statement: I am going to order 2 loads of Khaleesi to fix the road between the pro shop and the golf course. He didn't say, I'm gonna petition the board to get 2 loads of rock. I'm gonna put in a proposal to do 2 loads of rock. I'm not gonna find donations to get 2 loads of rock. He said, I'm gonna order 2 loads of rock. That's the difference between people who have direct access to our checkbook and people like in 14 and 15 and 3 who don't have access, and they can't even get a load of Khaleesi to level out their street.
Okay, so then, let me see. Second, third, second. Okay, Joe, you get to respond to that. 1 minute.
I don't think I can add anything to that.
All right, John?
I think what I'll add to that is that it's Valentine's Day. And I think this is a candidate forum, and I think that we should be respectful, give our opinions, try not to tear others down. I know Max very well, and he's a good man, and to drag him into this meeting is wholly inappropriate. And I don't even know if there's been 2 Khaleesi loads ordered or anything like that. But the assumption, but you just made the accusation, and then furthermore that he has a direct line to our checkbook is wholly false. And in my opinion, that has no place in this room, and it should not be. That nothing like that should be said at this table, in this venue, in this forum.
Questions from the audience?
Okay, you're right.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fields, I will get to you. We still have, it's only 10:42 and we're going to 11:15. Okay? So I'm sure you'll have the opportunity. 1 minute, Mr.
So
Lane.
this is for everybody. I'm the tree guy that needs the trees cut. And so what are y'all gonna do about cleaning up the whole place? You want to bring people in, but if they see what we see, like down on the maintenance guy, they aren't going to be coming in and staying. They see what happens down there. They look at the trees. They look at the roadways. Until you get everything fixed, people are not going to come. You get people to see what we can do and get everything fixed, then you're going to have more people come in. And like Baker says, you need advertising and to get people in, but when they get here, you got to have something to present. And if you don't present it correctly, they aren't going to stay.
Okay, so everybody's had the opportunity to be first in asking a question, so we'll go back now to, I'm going to take that back. Yes, I'm going to stick with what I said. Joe, you're first. 2 minutes, right? Yes. Go.
So that would fall, in my opinion, under the maintenance people. And so what we need to do is develop an accountability for them to outline their job and to do their job, starting all the way up at the manager and all the way down to the employees themselves.
John?
Rocky, can you repeat the question? I just didn't really catch the question in there.
Well, it's cleaning up the whole area. I mean, like the maintenance department. It took Lee, a week to clean that up. It can all be done. It's just a matter of getting somebody in there and doing it. And as far as the job description, that is in the board's job description to do it. Now, you subsequently sent it to Charlene to get it all done, But if she's not doing the job, then it comes back to you and you are responsible for it.
Well, I think there's about literally 1 million things that we could say need maintenance on board. Warren said that I said 2 to 5 million. It's probably more like 5 or more, right? I mean, to get everything in this place really tip top shape.
I'm sorry. Can I say?
You can have a 30-second follow-up, but in the
Okay.
meantime, let him respond to what you're saying.
Okay, go ahead.
So I don't think that any of us would disagree with there needs to be a maintenance plan, or that there needs to be maintenance done, and that there's wholly an overwhelming amount of things that need to be done between tree trimming and cleaning up messes. What I would say is that we do continue needing to chase the low hanging fruit stuff. You made a point about in the last meeting very passionately about how messy it was over there, and I believe it's been somewhat cleaned up. And so your voice does matter. You come to these meetings and you say things, and it does make a difference. You send emails, it does make a difference. And I would just encourage people to keep doing that. And in the meantime, I've never seen a board member that didn't want to continuously improve the aesthetics of the association and the fort. So I would think every single member of the fort and board member would be on board with what you're saying.
Warren?
Okay, I had that same complaint that you had, Rocky, about the trees, the overhanging trees. In my estimation, my motor home is 11 and a half feet tall, but the new motor homes that are being built today are 13 and a half feet high, counting the air conditioning. You cannot drive down a lot of the streets on this place without knocking the air conditioner off. You need to put a 14-foot pole on a golf cart and drive down all these streets, and every time that thing snaps off, you got to trim a tree. Because I was over in Airport Road the other day, there was a box truck, I don't know, it belonged to FedEx or if it was rented, drove around the triangles trying to get under those trees with a box truck. I've been told that the beer truck does not go into the golf course anymore because they can't get in and through that. I don't know if it's the tight turn or it's the trees, but the trees all need to be trimmed. Years ago, we complained 2 or 3 times to maintenance about the incoming from the front gate up to the stop sign, complained about the overhanging trees. Finally, we bought a pole saw. The RV committee bought a pole saw. We went down, trimmed the trees, threw the branches up on the sidewalk and all the way up to the stop sign. That needs to be done on the whole fort. The other thing is, I've seen piles of branches, just like you're saying, on Scales Road for months, not weeks, but months. And I saw the same 2 guys drive 3 times up down Scales Road with an empty trailer and didn't pick up 1 pile of branches. And I talked to Philip about that. I said, if you're going to have people just wasting time, they shouldn't be wasting our gas money too. They need to be hanging out in the back of maintenance. So we need to address the issues with people who we employ. These employees are paid to be inconvenienced. They're paid to do a job. And when they don't do it, somebody has to be held accountable for it. So when you have a pile of trash sitting for months over on Mulberry Street or over on Scales, that is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. And that's why the board needs to meet with the heads of the departments and find out what they're doing and what they're saying.
You may have a 30-second follow-up.
Okay, those trees down there at the end of Skills Road is not gonna happen again, because the board ran the 2 people that lives there and did all that work. They're all for it.
That's right.
So anyway.
That's right.
16 questions.
It's amazing that, within, after I had come up here and did my talk, they did the trees one day and they did the maintenance in a week.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you get done without the money that we're talking about. That you think it takes to do it.
Thank you. Our next person, yes, please come forward.
Can we answer that?
You didn't ask a question, you made comment. It was
Okay.
an editorial comment. Yep.
I'll try to answer.
Good morning. Thanks for being here. And thanks for showing all the time and everything herding cats. That's a often underappreciated but tough job to do. Thank you very much. My question is, should you either remain on the board or get on the board, other than the golf course, what would be your top 2 priorities to try to work towards on the fort? Top 2 priorities other than the golf course.
Is this for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me figure out who's going to be next for first. Okay, John, you're next for first.
2 minutes.
My top two priorities would be to get this lawsuit pushed through. Hopefully we're successful there. We may not be, but in my eyes, this is a really big deal and could save us a considerable amount of money that we should have been paying for a long time. And I would consider it a low hanging fruit. My next thing is to do what this may not make sense to the membership, but to just make the next right decision. Because we are a melting pot of five board members, and then we get our direction a lot of times from the membership and their concerns and complaints. And so, really, I did in the beginning thought, well, I can come in here and I can focus on one thing. But the reality is it doesn't work that way. You get in here and you focus on one thing, you're going to make mistakes. And the thing that needs to be focused on is working together. Is all of us trying to see each other's perspectives and figure out what's the next right thing to do. And the goal set for myself from now till I'm off the board would be make the next right decision working with my board members that I serve with.
Warren?
Okay, my very first priority would be advertising. We got to get advertising out on Highway 90 and catch these people going back and forth to Big Bend. My second one is the trimming of the trees. We got to get them back from the edge of these streets so they're not damaging people's RVs or vans or anything else. And the next thing, we need to get the deficiency accounts up. I was in Stripes one morning and some guy came in, sat down right at the table with a friend of mine and I, and started to tell us how he pays no fees to live on Fort Clark Springs. And he said his name was Bo and he lives in 38. I don't know what his real name is, but I mean, when people come in, sit down at a table with strangers and start bragging about the fact that they live free somewhere, that needs to be addressed. And I know that your sister was addressing that when she was on the board, and I think we all appreciate that. The last thing is every board member needs to be assigned to at least 1, 2, or 3 committees so they know what these volunteer committees are doing. So when they have a board meeting, they can report back to the other board members, what is Fort Clark Days doing? You know, what is the recreation committee doing? And the fact that we don't have a recreation committee, we have an RV park committee, and the board doesn't want to assign us to a recreation committee and recognize our contribution to the board. It just tells something about the board in my estimation. So that's it.
Okay, Joe?
2 minutes.
I think we have a lot of things to work on, but we have to set priorities. And like I said in my opening statement, for me, road repair and maintenance is a high priority, and historical building maintenance and repair. But if you leave the historical buildings alone, they're just going to deteriorate further and further. So you got to come up with a plan to at least do maintenance.
You may have a 30-second follow-up.
I won't follow up, but I would encourage everybody to come. This is great. This is great turnout. I realize it's only programmed for an hour and 15 hour, 20 minutes. And the board meetings typically are longer than an hour. But it would be nice if this many people showed up at every board meeting. I think that would help with some of the problems. The other thing is just having expectations. I hear a lot of things about this needs to be done, or the board needs to be directing work towards individual managers and stuff, not the board's job. I think it's important that the board continue to maintain what they're supposed to do.
Thank you very much.
Can we ask,
No, that was, he
no?
was just making a comment. He did say there was no follow-up, so he was just making a comment. So, yes, thank you. All right, anybody else? I know I have 2 people who are anxious to get back to the microphone. Okay, Mr. Fields.
Okay, thank
1
you.
minute.
I appreciate that. I'm going to talk to Joe. I know that you have, in personal conversations, you have relayed to me that you have some experience in fiscal management and a massive amount of. Is there anything that you can think of just off the top of your head that you can add to or detract from the fiscal mismanagement that has obviously been going on for a long time here?
And this is specifically to Joe. I just want to make
Yes.
sure. Thank you.
So we can't fix the past. But what we can do is develop an accountability process to make sure that the money we're spending is what's supposed to be spent and no more, except for new projects that are not on the books now.
Did you have a follow-up?
No, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Dennis, did you have a question?
I have a quick question for Warren.
Okay, please come, no, please come forward to the mic.
Do I gotta go up there?
Yes, sir, you do.
I know the way. Thank you. Listen, this is for you, Warren.
1 minute.
The candidates have talked about their experience, but please correct me. Didn't you have your own practice as a veterinarian, which involved running the business, employees? Weren't you also an officer in the Marines
No,
But you-
Army.
and the Army? But didn't that also involve organizing things and getting things done? You had people under you. So you actually do have experience managing different projects, correct? Thank you.
Specifically to you, you have 2 minutes to answer that question.
Okay, I don't want to answer that question. I want to go back to Curtis's question about the board meeting attendance. The reason people don't come to the board meetings and why I've sat in this room for 3 hours only to be told by the president of the board that the question I ask is not relevant or not going to be answered. So why should people come to a board meeting when they're treated like that? When they're treated by board members or board member presidents about that? If Memo wants to come up and address that issue, I'd like to hear him do that. So I was in veterinary practice for 40 years and I did mostly large animal stuff. And I want to tell you, the most important person that ever came in the door of my place was the people who spent money and who paid me. I don't work for people who don't pay me, and the people who work for me respect the people who come in the door and do pay me and paid all of us. So this has to do with we're paying for something we're not getting. We're not getting the maintenance that we are paying for. Our money is being squandered from the RV park and from the motel right down to the golf course. Right down to the golf course. All you have to do to find out why you don't have money for bulldozers and all these other things is you're going to spend it at the golf course. We're going back to 2 paid employees at the golf course and the rest is volunteers and they're put on a budget. And if they don't have enough money, they go raise their own money. The same way the gun club raises money or Clark Days raises money. There's no reason in the world the golf course has direct accessibility into the paycheck or into the checking account of this court. I hope that was positive. Was that positive?
I gotta stand
You
up.
gotta come to the microphone.
No, wait, but no, Elena's first. Elena's first, yes. She's just a little slower than you, Kathy. What can I say?
Okay.
This is for John. I have a question about, I know it's really a hard job to be on the board. So why do you want to reapply? And I also have a comment. This is not related to the question, but I've been to almost every board meetings for I don't know how many years that I've been here. I've never seen disrespect. So I think that's just an oddball opinion that you might have, Warren. And
Thank you, Elena. I thought that question might come up, and I actually spoke to Joe about this the other day, and a little bit. I feel I'm going to share something extremely personal. I know most people here are probably Christians, and so I'll share this uncomfortably. But when I first ran for the board, I felt very called to do so, and I didn't feel that same calling this time. So I had a friend of my wife, Brittany, said, "Hey, if you haven't heard from God in a while about a particular topic, then you should go back and think of what was the last strongest thing that you heard Him ask you to do." And it was to run for Fort Clark Springs. And so I went back and I thought, okay, well, how have I handled myself in the last 3 years? And ultimately, I haven't handled myself well. And the whole time I've served on the board, it's been so challenging and so hard, which there's other board members sitting in this room that know how hard it is. I griped about it. You know, I felt like I was called to do something and I was so disrespectful that I griped about it. And so the purpose of me running again is because I would like to be obedient and I would like to be of service to other people and not gripe about it. And it really is that simple. And it's very personal, but it is the only answer I have.
Actually Kathy was first and then you, okay?
Oh, okay.
Your turn.
I'm shorter than him.
Yeah, 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, advertising. We've all talked about advertising. We've been talking about advertising since day one. Well, we've been coming since 82. We used to have a really Harold. Well, that's another subject. Okay, the spelunkers used to come. The hospitals used to come. Not the young kids. The older. What I can't remember what they're called. The older ones. They would always come. Hey, we used to have a golf seminar. We used to have historical seminars. They would come. And that was where we made a lot of our money. They got introduced, but they had places to go. My question to all you people, would you support advertising the airport as a fly-in so people could come with their planes and come and see what we have? It's a short run. And from my understanding is, I'm going to blunt this out. I think somebody's in charge of the airport and they shouldn't be. But would you? Sorry, Allison. Sorry, guys, but the airport committee. Thank you.
I feel the love.
I'm sure this morning from my husband.
Warren, it is your turn to be first.
Okay, I think the newspaper has been the best advertising we've had in the last couple of years. I was just absolutely amazed when I came back and found in the newspaper what we on the RV committee had tried to do for years. And that was to list the businesses, to list the activities, and get the people at the front gate to hand that stuff out to anybody new that came on the port to the motel or to the RV park. And when I came back and saw all that stuff that was in the newspaper now by Travis and Annabelle, I was just elated. And I thought that what we should do is take all the last week newspapers and maybe pay them for something and have the people at the front gate hand out those newspapers. If they have a question about what's going on at Fort Clark Springs or in Brackettville, it's right there in the newspaper. Current events in the newspaper. So I think that's the number one thing. We need to appreciate those people. We need to get those newspapers down to the front gate and require that those people hand them out. So that would be my first. I guess I'll just stop there.
Okay. All right, Joe, you're second. 2 minutes.
So I have been contemplating how to better use the airport. And in fact, I talked to Lee, who does the hunting program, and I said, do y'all promote the use of the airport to fly these people in from Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth? And he said they're investigating, but I can't really answer how to do that because I don't understand how the airport operates. I do know there's opportunity though.
That's a great answer. So yes, your question was, do we promote planes coming in for activities? And it could be for on four or it could be for off four. Somebody owns a ranch around here that wants to fly in. And I think that I may not have this exactly right, but the simple answer is we have discussed some of that, but we have not implemented any advertising, obviously, in that regard. That'd be a very small pool of people when, we need to get people who are going to come here and buy property, supposedly, hopefully, right? But the simple answer is that if you have a plane and you want to fly in Fort Clark Springs, you can buy an FRM and you can join the airport and you can fly your plane in. You don't even have to own land. And I think I'm correct about that. So you have all use of the amenities. No, if you have an FRM, you have use of all amenities.
You have to have somebody on the floor.
But you're a member, an FRM, you're a member.
Correct. And you have to have I think it's $1 million policy, insurance policy presented and then approved.
Sure. Okay, but if you get an FRM, there's a pathway for you to be able to fly your plane in here, and that's $50-something a month. So, while you're talking about a very small pool of people, I think it's a great idea. We have discussed it to the length that I understand that part of it, I guess.
Do I have a,
You have a 30-second follow-up?
okay. We have discussed the airport and being flying for years, as far as I can remember. And even the current board, everything. We really don't get a report from the airport quote committee. And I guess my main question is, okay, our comment is, it is owned by Fort Clark Springs Association. So I guess, does the board, or would you look at the agreement to see who has control of the airport? So we can get, I agree it's a small thing, but it's advertising. Thank you.
Okay, so John, I'm gonna give you first to respond to that, please.
Okay, the board has control of the airport. The board has control of every single aspect of the association.
Right.
The board has control of every committee except for architectural. So the answer to that is in the bylaws. The board controls everything on the board. So if there's shortcoming at the airport, I would say that needs to be communicated to the board, and we can address it with the airport. But the board is the governing body for all things on the board.
Okay, the airport runway is being maintained by Bob Ackroyd. He has a plane out there. I don't know who has the other plane. We took the little green John Deere that we got back from maintenance with the mower on it, and we opened up the second runway for Bob. That was probably about a month ago.
Okay.
There are 2 lawnmowers out at the golf course. Or the golf course. I'm on a binge out at the airport that were sold to the fort by Sam Lark.
Right.
Mike Palmer used to use those 2 lawnmowers to mow the runway, and Sam Lark paid the money to him to have it mowed. So those 2 lawnmowers are still there. I don't even think the fort knows they still own them. They're out there in a hangar. And so anyway, I would be opposed to doing a whole lot at the airport. We have bigger priorities than the airport right now. The liability for opening that airport and having fly-in breakfast and all that stuff. There was an airport in the little town that I was at that was maintained for years, and they had a fly-in breakfast. They had an airplane crash and someone got killed. So the liability issues and the amount of money that it would cost us to do that kind of stuff out there, I think would be very, very prohibitive when we have a lot of other things that I think need to be addressed before that. They have a group that takes care of it for themselves. Let them take care of it.
Joe?
I'll repeat my previous statement. I think there's opportunities that needs to be investigated. I think we can make better use of it, but we have to look into it.
All right, I agree. Thank you.
The really tall gentleman, I'm sorry. Baker. Okay, Mr. Baker, thank you.
Well, I may be the tallest man at Fort Clark. I don't know. My name is Baker Hughes, and I guess this may be the closing question, but in my mind, each of you men are valuable and have expertise and have put in an enormous amount of effort already in the time you've been here, and I respect each of you. And so my question is, sadly, only one of you can fill this slot. And I wish we could put all 3 of you on the board, but that can't be done. And so my question is that I'd like you each to respond to, if in the event that you're not elected, how will you, as an individual, carry forward a civil discourse so that we are together moving the ball down the field? Because we're not trying to compete here or gain titles. I think we all agree in this room that we all have a vested interest in seeing this place succeed. And we all have agreed that there's more revenue needed, that we need to work together. So how will you do that? Thank you.
Good question. Okay, so, Joe and Warren, you've answered the first question only. First question, each of you 3 times. John, you've answered you had the first opportunity 4 times. So I'm gonna put this on you.
No.
Okay, no, not to answer the question.
No.
Okay, because Joe.
Paper, rock, scissors.
Joe and Warren are tied.
Paper, rock, scissors. It's
Okay,
an
go
answer
ahead.
for everything.
Okay, great, awesome.
Let's see it. Let's go.
Okay, go guys.
No, just go with Joe.
Okay, Joe, all right.
2 minutes.
I was all in favor of your. Great.
Okay, I already volunteer a lot of different places. If I do not get on the board, that's still gonna give me more time, and I will work on historical committees and community council and work with those people to work those improvements.
Thank you. Warren?
Well, I don't know a lot about Joe, but I know he has a very impressive resume. I read it a couple of times through, and I'm very impressed with his background. The thing about John is that when we vote for John, we get two for the price of one, because his wife is also a big contributor to the board. She's on Fort Clark days, so I'm a big supporter of John. I'm even a bigger supporter of Brittany. So that takes care of it. So as for myself, I've had very limited experience in this type of financial management. Things were always simple. I came from a very small town, worked in a small town. Things were simple. And this is very complicated. You have historical buildings, you have grants to write, you have people to maintain. But this is not beyond anybody to serve on the board and get involved. But if I'm on the board, I can't do the volunteerism that I do right now. And so, but I do believe that somebody has to address the issues and ask the questions, and I'll address that in my closing statement.
As Mr. Hughes, civil discourse if not elected. I will continue to serve in any capacity I can. If I'm not elected, I'll have a lot of knowledge, like a lot of other board members, that you don't get unless you're sitting up here. And if there's some way that I can help in that realm, I'd love to. My wife and I, we donate to a lot of causes here, whether it's golf or Fort Clark days, and we donate a lot of time in other ways. We've donated probably close to 100+ hours of heavy equipment being here, clearing land. My wife helped build the website this year, Fort Clark Days, and does a lot of other stuff. So we will continue to stay involved. We love this place. We're here and I'm serving and because I love this place, and I'm doing it also with a 6 and a 9-year-old child. And so it takes a lot of time away, and I'm learning to try to balance that better. So if you vote for Joe and Warren, you won't be hurting my feelings, but I will continue to do whatever I can to be of service to the community.
We actually have time for one more question.
Go Chuck.
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
You actually may ask one. You go up to the microphone and I'll be your timekeeper.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is for all of y'all. And John, you were talking about the lawsuit and hopefully getting the tax rate reduced. That would provide more revenue. So with that revenue, would it be out of the question to work on the basketball court and things that would provide activities for the people at the RV park, so that if somebody's coming in, let's say they're homeschoolers and they're just traveling the country, they stop into Fort Clark, would we have, we've got the pickleball courts, but a basketball court and other activities that would entice more families to come here?
Wait, was that to everybody?
That was to everybody.
I thought it was. I'm sorry. Okay, so Warren, you actually are the first to answer this time, please.
Okay, I think I got lost somewhere in the question. What is specifically the
question is, if the tax rate becomes reduced,
right?
there's
What would we
extra
spend the money on?
income. Could we spend part of that money on the basketball court?
Yeah.
And things for kids to do, because there aren't a lot of things on the fort
Right.
for kids.
Okay, the RV committee, we have discussed the fact that there are spaces, green spaces around the fort that we feel should be recreational committees. In other words, small playgrounds, one over by 15, one down where airport meets Fort Clark Road, to set up, swings and slides and stuff for kids. I think that would be my first priority. We need to get the basketball court resurfaced. There were about 12 or 15 kids out there playing on the basketball court. If any of you ever walked on the basketball court, you can't even walk on it, let alone bounce a basketball. So the money that we save anywhere along the line needs to be addressed into the recreational facilities that we have. Some of it needs to be put back in the RV park, which is disgusting. Because that's not an RV park. That is not a functional RV park with all the activities that should happen. Without the RV park committee, there wouldn't even be a social life at the RV park. And talking about the RV park, I don't know who tore the recycle bins out of the RV park, but I thought we were a recycling community, and who welded the lid shut on the trailer, and now they complain because people can't get trash to the back of the trailer. So there's a lot of things that need to be addressed here on the board, and we're not going to address them by ignoring them. We have to talk about them. We need to come to the board meeting, given the opportunity to say what we want to say, and have the board address those issues rather than be cut off, sent home, told we don't count, we're not on the right committee, the whole deal. So I'm going, the problem that we have is the board. The board is in charge. They need to take responsibility.
Thank you. Okay, John, you get the next.
Okay, absolutely. But what I would say as a big part of that process, and while we are a governing board, we're an extremely dynamic association. And so what I would say is what you're asking about is, we have expendable or flexible income come in, a sudden rush of that. Would we apply it towards something to do for kids to have places to play? I love the idea. I love anything that improves support. What I would say is that I don't know that it's quite that simple. We need all of the people that are sitting here today to show up at meetings and to send emails and say, hey, could I get this on the agenda? I would like to have the kids think. Everybody wants the board to have all the answers, but the reality is that we all have to work together. And a lot of times there's something on the agenda that maybe really gets you fired up, and you come in here and then you get up here and you make great points and the board changes its direction. Well, did the board make that decision or did you make that decision? The reality is that we have flexible income, which we obviously all of us would love to get to that point, is that we all need to work together what this community wants to do, move forward. And if that's your idea and that's what you want to do, then it absolutely should be on the agenda. And as a community, we should absolutely talk about it.
Joe?
So we need to get off of the squeaky wheel, and we need to take a very detailed survey of the fourth so that we can prioritize our needs. And certainly amenities such as playgrounds, basketball court should be on there, but we cannot prioritize them over everything else unless we identify what we need to work on.
Okay. Did you have a follow-up?
I do have a follow-up. So, if the basketball court were rehabbed, you could do 3-on-3 tournaments, things that would be fun summertime activities for the kids. The other thing I think.
Oh, no, you actually had 13 seconds. That was his time.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm a very poor.
Okay, and I just want to say that I am a member of the pickleball club, and it's a great opportunity, and I think everybody loves it. So there's that.
Did you have a question in there? I'm sorry, because I interrupted.
No, I was just making a comment.
Okay, so the time 11:15 is already. Thank you. 11:15 is already passed, and it's time for their closing statement. So I'm going to leave it up to them. Okay. Will you take another question?
Yes.
I've sat in board meetings for 9 hours. I can handle one more question.
All right. Please come to the microphone.
Thank you. I don't need that much time. I just have a question talking about the RV park. Whatever happened to the breakfast program that we used to have? Remember we used to get together? Used to get together and go pay for breakfast in the morning and visit with friends there on Saturdays.
Well, I don't think it's.
Yeah, hold on a second. Is this to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So we're back to Joe. Sorry, we're back to Joe's first.
I don't have an answer for that because I'm not familiar with that part of the program.
You don't remember that?
I've only been here about 18 months.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't take all of us to answer that, but there's two lovely people sitting right back here that can help answer that question for you.
Oh,
And they were in charge of running it, and they're amazing people, and maybe you could pressure them to do it again.
The problem with the RV park breakfast was it was no longer profitable. Well, you know, we used to have between 70 and 80 people show up on a Saturday morning.
Mhm.
And now at the end, we were lucky to get 25 to 30.
Oh,
This goes back to the same argument I've had before, is how we treat volunteers. John Bridger was here for many years, ran that, plus the whole social program at the RV park. And what did we do? We let people, employees of this place, maybe directed by the board, maybe directed by the general manager, but criticize his efforts to do things at not only the golf course, but also the RV park, and drove him and his sister and a lot of other people out of here. And that's the type of bad attitudes, I think, on the part of our employees, whether they're doing it on behalf of the board or the general manager, but that needs to be addressed straight to the employees. Respect for the members of this association.
thank you very much. And thank you very much for accepting that last question. And who are the two people in the back that can answer that question for her? Steve? Fox?
Yeah.
Turner.
I can answer it now.
We're getting ready to go into
It'll be a long one.
Steve,
May I come up there?
can you limit your answer to 1 minute?
I can.
Okay, come on up and address the answer.
Can't play that one.
I know. Okay, so if he does not completely answer your question, that's Steve Fox, okay? And you can get together with him afterward, okay? Because we are gonna limit him to 1 minute. Microphone, sir.
Yes, well, actually, the hardest thing we had was, we couldn't get the numbers there. And at the same time, everything was going up in price. Eggs went from $6.60 for 60 eggs up to almost $28. We added a lot of new things. We didn't go with Tang, we went with real orange juice. The biggest problem was we couldn't get anybody to come that was under 70 years old. And we started losing numbers. And I'd have to run out and do all the shopping, but I wasn't. I was also paying the high for gas, etc. And we just couldn't get the interest. And if you can't make any money, which we put all of our money back into the port, then there was no use in having it. And we just reached that point. We could not get younger people. And I mean like under 70. And that's the answer.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, we have come to the end of the time for asking questions of our candidates. And I do appreciate the love that you have shared this morning. We are now going into closing statements, and we will start with Warren for the first closing statement. And you have 2 minutes, Warren.
Thank you. I have often stated to my friends that I will be happier if not elected to Fort Clark's board. However, the long-term failures of our board to identify and resolve financial issues, hold people accountable, publish monthly financial data, and respond to the needs of the whole community, not just the privileged few, leaves me with no other choice than to run. My candidacy is about giving voice to the frustrations of those who feel insulted, belittled, bullied, and left behind by a minority demanding an 18-hole golf course in one of the poorest per capita counties in Texas. The golf course needs to be run by a board of directors with no more than 2 employees, run with donations and fundraisers, and supplemented by volunteer labor. The gun club, the pickleball group, Fort Clark Days, the RV park are all expected to raise their own funds, volunteer their time, and donate money to supplement their wants, while our board of directors continually demands that every Fort Clark Homeowner Association member be taxed to pick up the tab for those who live in bigger houses, drive newer cars, and claim their leaving would be the demise of Fort Clark. I beg to differ.
Thank you.
John,
I just want to thank everybody for being here, and I want to reiterate the fact that there's three really hardworking, good volunteers up here. It's awesome to be sitting here today with them and talking about good stuff for the board. I'd like to say that serving on the board is a extremely complex situation, and it's never about one thing or the other. It's about all of it together. And it's very hard, and that's why it's hard for boards to get along. That's why it's hard for the membership to always understand. And I hope that in the next 3 years, if I get elected, that I can do a better job of conveying that. I'd also say that you have three good choices here. The only positive thing you get from me is that I've already been here for 3 years. I've already read the bylaws a million times and the declaration a million times and dealt with the chaos of all the emails and all the, BS that comes down the line and issue process those situations. And so I still have a lot to learn, but I don't have a learning curve. And these two gentlemen are going to have a learning curve. And it's a heavy burden to carry. And it's not something you get to just squeak away from. It is an immediate burden, and it immediately takes over your life, and you have to learn it. And, there's already 5 or 6 board members in here, and I guarantee you they're all thinking, yep, that's right. And lastly, I'll just say the reality is that we all expect our board to be perfect. We all expect to make all the right decisions. And once again, it's very complex. The reality is the board is it's a tough job. And even if you're very, very passionate about getting something done, sometimes it doesn't. And so I think we all need to take a drink of that reality, and hopefully in the next 3 years we can make a lot more progress, whether I'm on the board or not, and communicate better with the membership and keep headed in the right direction. And I appreciate everybody's vote, and I appreciate everybody's nice words.
I can make mine simple. I have read the same documents over and over again, and they're very complicated, and you can't read them once and figure them out. I elected to run for this position because I believe that my experience allows me to make a difference, and that's what I'm wanting to do, is make a difference.
so if we could have another round of applause for our 3 candidates. If you are a current board member, would you please stand? Turn around and acknowledge. Karen, would you please come up and talk about the ballot? And you all have been amazing. Thank you so very much for spending your time here this morning and putting so much thought and care into your answers. Really appreciate it. For those of you in the audience, you are awesome. I really tried not to let you see me laugh or smile.
Sharon Greger or Sharon Wolf?
No, I want, because I talked to you.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, is that okay?
Sure.
Okay,
But
thank
there's
you.
2 others here, 3 others actually.
Oh, okay. They weren't here when I spoke to you at the beginning.
Okay.
Now, you may hand it over to somebody else to do.
Okay.
Okay?
Is there any question about filling out the ballot?
No.
Do you all know what you're supposed to do?
Sharon, come on around. Turn me around this way. and I'll turn you.
I don't need to help you. Okay. You mark the circle for the candidate that you want. If none of the above suits you, you can write in a person. Down here, there's a space available for that. You sign it. If your ballot comes with John and Jane Doe, only one of the Does needs to sign the ballot, not both. You put it in the envelope that is enclosed, that comes with the ballot. Put a stamp on it, please. People think they don't need to put a stamp on it, but it's not going to go anywhere if there's not a stamp. So please put a stamp on it. And then you're all done.
Any questions?
Yeah, put it in the mail.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, only one signature, but you, both of them voted for the same person.
No, only one person can mark the ballot. So you get together with your husband and you decide who you want to vote for, and then you mark that candidate. And only one person needs to sign, either you or him,
Okay.
not both.
And the signature needs to match.
And yes, and however it is on your label here, that's how you sign your name
Okay.
on the ballot. Yes. Okay? Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
I wasn't gonna ask until you just said that specifically. So you're saying that the name on that right there
Mm-hmm.
is what the signature needs to read.
Right.
What if it's a corporation?
What if it's a corporation?
It still has to be the signature
Match
of
up to
the
the
owner of the corporation.
The owner of the corporation.
And where is that signature on file?
I don't know.
It's in our records.
So the auditor
The
has
auditor
the,
has, Sharon, you want to do that? Sharon,
I have been asked, there's several of them that went out, especially the John Watkinson. He just has a corporation on there. If I've been trying to, get clarification. If we need to put a new label in the, neither John Wiley or whoever's name on it, DBA, the corporation. And I believe that's the way we need to do it, so that
don't do that, 'cause that's not, you're creating a legal status, so don't do that.
I'm sorry.
By putting DBA, you're creating a status, so it's gotta be the agent or something, but that's the question is, if that is on the ballot and they're matching it to the signature block, what signature are they matching to, and where do you make sure that that signature is the one that you think is on there?
We need the owner or
I agree, but where is that kept?
the auditor has
our lists available to them, and when the auditor receives the ballot, they open them and they check the names off against our list.
Sure.
So,
on the list that I saw, and it had Cause of Baltimore. It did not have anything else on it but Cause of Baltimore and an address. It did not have a name of anybody that's supposed to sign it. And that's the way they are. That's the problem. It's only the corporation. And from what I understand, when an auditor sees it, it's just a corporation. They don't count the ballot.
And
I have to clarify that with the auditor. Because I think we're gonna have to put a name on the owner to be on there, for the owner to be able to sign it. So I'm the one that issue new ballots. If we have to do that, then I have to call Monday and talk to the auditor. Because if it just has Cause of Baltimore and no name of a person that's gonna sign it, they're not gonna count it. It's my understanding.
Sure.
Wouldn't the agent name be on the closing document where?
Would not the agent name for the corporation also be on the closing documents registered with the Clark Association?
Closing documents don't get given to the association, and also the list that the ballot is printed from, that's on that list that she just held up, that document. That is the same list given to the auditor. So nowhere on that piece of paper is there a name to match your signature.
So it seems like we have a gap that needs to be closed.
We have a gap, and I will be addressing that gap and making sure that people that have having their corporation name. We'll be addressing that gap. If it's just a corporation name, I'll be getting with the auditor on how we need to change that. We need to issue a new label. A new label with a person's actual name on it, that either the agent or the owner of the property or however they want to do it.
Just in case I'm not the only one, can you explain what they need to do if they never got their ballot?
If
For all
you,
those people out here.
if you did not get a ballot and you haven't gotten a ballot by next week, you need to contact me and you can email me at secretary@clark.com. And if you'll email me, I'll make arrangements to get with you and get you a replacement ballot. I'm sorry, I just got out of the hospital. My voice is kind of going.
Oh, I have a question. If you have, I received several ballots. Can I vote on each of those ballots and put 2 or 3?
No,
They have
no,
to be separate.
they have to be in separate envelopes. If you have multiple properties, every ballot has to be in an individual envelope.
couldn't put all your ballots.
And if you don't put a stamp on it,
Doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't count. There were several last year that did not have stamps. And, they got them because it had a stamp on it from us, but it didn't have a stamp on it when they mailed it back.
But how did it fail?
Yeah. So if it didn't have a stamp, it's automatically sent to the auditor. And when the auditor opens up the envelope and sees that whatever they see, they decide they can't count it.
I turned off my mic. Again, happy Valentine's Day. I think this was a great session and you're hanging around until 12 o'clock. Is that true? And here and outside for additional conversations. Thank you all so very much for being here. Appreciate you.